Hey, so recently we went to go see Roger Waters again, and I went with this guy right here. It was over in Tampa, so we had a little bit of a drive. I had to drive. You want to sit and do that. So here's a little bit of video we shot on the way into the arena. So you thought you'd like to go to the show. Professional cameras. That's big. Well, it's 8:07. Show started at 8 o'clock. And then once we finally got in there, I used the restroom, so I didn't have to worry about that later. Yeah. This guy was trying to buy a drink, standing in a long line. I'm like, Brian, Brian,
we gotta go.
We were just kind of standing there, like, did you not hear me? And like,
I really didn't hear you. And all of a sudden, I hear Brian.
All right, well, the show started. We're heading in. It was the heartbeat. And you can see the screen here. This is something I shot without even taking our seats yet because it was already started. Check out the LEDs. I thought I'd had enough time to go on a water ride before we left Busch Gardens, and I really didn't. And well, I also didn't know where we were going, so
you actually did have time. It for some reason your ride got stopped, and it took a long time for you to unload.
Yeah.
So
it was kind of stuck there for a while. I wish I could have brought my GoPro, but by the time we got in there, to go all the way to security and have to walk all the way back to the parking garage, if they're like, no, like we're gonna miss even more.
Yeah.
So. This set list was kind of all over the place. Breathe was first, of course, and then One of These Days.
Which I do believe is the first time we've ever seen that song live, and
yeah,
woo. All right, seeing Roger Waters live at all is incredible.
Yeah.
So we've seen Dark Side of the Moon perform live in its entirety,
which is amazing.
The Wall performed in its entirety,
which we thought when we went to see the Dark Side of the Moon, we're like, this is the only time we'll probably ever see Roger Waters live.
That was like back in 2008, right?
I think so. Yeah. And then the Wall tour started, so we went to go see him. Like, this is the last time.
Yeah.
And then the Wall tour kept extending and extending and extending, and then it came back to where we lived, and for 2 nights. And I'm like, well, as well.
Mm-hmm.
We saw him again for 2 other nights. That brings us up to 4 already. So actually, this is the 5th time.
Yeah.
3rd tour. He did come around there in 2000. We were where we were living, but neither one of us knew that he was on tour.
Yeah.
Until we saw him in 2008, and we're like, oh, I would have liked to have seen that.
Yeah. But One of These Days live was incredible. The band is phenomenal. Like, the guitar solo for One of These Days was perfect.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the actual guitar player would say, oh, well, I missed an 8th note here and a 16th note here, and I forgot to do the flat palm mute in this section, and we're like, dude, whatever. It was awesome.
Whoever was doing it was also playing other instruments. Mm-hmm. The thing I didn't like about it was he was in the back, and you didn't really get to see who was playing the guitar. Unlike with the final Pink Floyd tour, which is David Gilmour, who was front and center on a stage, well lit. And we know it's Roger Waters, but like, you know, I like to see the other musicians, especially in a solo.
Yeah.
But it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Unlike when David Gilmour joined Roger Waters during the Wall tour, and they phoned it in. Really never understood that term, but basically he showed up and he played, but I think he missed a lot of it and just didn't really put any passion into it, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
But so then after that, it was time. For time.
That's right. And you, I believe during the Dark Side of the Moon tour, you didn't like the introduction of Time on the drums. But this time they nailed it.
And then it was Breathe, reprised,
Mm-hmm.
which is it's pretty short. And I'm going to be, as you can see, I'm cutting in. Another thing is I wanted to shoot like a little bit here, a little bit there, but I didn't want to be shooting. If I had my GoPro, I had my head mount, and I just put it on and beep, and then just record the whole show and use that. But I didn't want to spend a lot of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because we paid a lot of money to see that concert, and I was there to
Yeah.
see the concert. And what amazing a concert it was, too.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy will probably disagree. Out of all the shows that we saw with Roger Waters, his lighting is average. It's not that great. It's like, it's nice. But he really does some amazing stuff in other areas like video and props and stuff like that. I don't know who can top the final Pink Floyd tour, because that light show was just... if you haven't seen it, it's from '94. I don't even know what words describe, but the lighting here was like, it's pretty nice. But we'll get back. We'll get to the mind blowing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to put it otherwise without a cliche, but that comes after the intermission in the show, not the video.
Yeah.
So then there was the great gig in the sky. They're playing the song, but the vocalists went off on their own version of it,
Mm-hmm.
which is one of the things about about being live is it doesn't always have to sound exactly like the album, because you've already heard the album.
Yeah.
But something just weird about those two women. I don't know. Maybe it's their matching haircuts and what they're wearing. Kind of unsettling. I don't know. They're just weird. But you can see I got a little bit of video of them when they're like singing towards each other and stuff. I'm like, okay.
I mean, I thought it was fine.
Go Stella.
Yeah, they do a little bit of a... One lady does a solo, one lady does another solo, and then they kind of doing a call and response thing. And I mean, I thought it was fine. It's a little neat. It was kind of a bit of an extended version of The Great Gig in the Sky.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I mean, I didn't really have any problems. So, seemed cool to me.
Yeah, I just found them bizarre.
But I like bizarre, so maybe,
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's why I was fine with it.
I don't know. And then it was Welcome to the Machine. Which, if you are not familiar, it's from what I've read, is a song about getting into the record industry.
Which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. If you listen to the lyrics, it works with that. And at that point, it goes to a few songs that are original. I believe some of them are new, if not all of them, from Roger himself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, somebody told me once, years ago, that they don't like Roger Waters songs without Pink Floyd. And they don't like Pink Floyd songs without Roger Waters. And I have to agree with that. I don't really care as much for even though I don't really like the final cut that much either, which was still with Roger, the albums that came out after Roger left or was kicked out or whatever, he wasn't part of the band, I don't like those as much, and I don't like Roger's solo stuff as much as the Pink Floyd with him.
Well, there was definitely a certain magic with, Pink Floyd, especially with the classic era that we all know.
Yeah.
Dark Side of the Moon, The Wall, Animals, what is that album? Umandaganda?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay, well, the classic lineup of, the Pink Floyd that we all know. Once Roger left, and it was just a different band, and he put his own band together, and I like Roger Waters' solo stuff, but there is a certain magic that just isn't there.
Yeah. And the thing is, I wonder why Harry Waters wasn't on the tour. He was there for the world tour.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not sure. And I'm not sure why Nick Mason doesn't play with them.
Yeah.
I think those two are okay. I think it's just Roger and David.
Yeah, from what I understand.
So first, it was when we were young. It was one of the songs that he played, and then he played another song which I thought he played before already, but I guess not. I don't know. It's called Deja Vu. So, and then the last Refugee.
Catch the sweet bubble of lips just barely apart.
After that was Picture That. Unlike the song that we know from a band that was local to where we used to live, which they had a song called
Yeah.
Very different song.
Yeah.
So after that, went back to Pink Floyd with Wish You Were Here.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of that. Which he played during the Wall Tour as well,
mm-hmm.
with against a projection of himself playing that song. And then, of course, everyone's favorite, it goes into Happiest Days of Our Lives. These are the happiest days of our lives.
Like Saints through the Hourglass.
Another Brick in the Wall,
mm-hmm.
Part 2. And then another Brick in the Wall, Part 3. Oh, but going back, just like the Wall Tour from that was like 1,700 years long that he did before. They brought some local children in
mm-hmm. Yeah.
on stage. Did their thing, dancing.
And one kid, a black boy, he was really going for it. Did you see him?
No, and they're all pretty into it.
Yeah, but like this one dude was just going for it. He's like, you know what? This is my 15 seconds up here. Let me just and
no big balloons to distract people this time.
Yeah. So like the kids were the show this time.
Yeah.
For the Wall Tour, they would have this giant inflatable teacher come down with the cane and the glasses and the spotlight eyes and yeah. This time, none of that. It was just watch the kids.
Stand still, laddie.
And watch the kids do their thing, which is pretty cool.
During this show, there's 2 lines of truss that were in the ceiling. You could probably see them in the video. I'll probably point them out. And I'm thinking, well, we've never been to this arena. It looks like it's part of the show because it was over the scoreboard. So, but there are also a whole bunch of red lights when we're looking up and like maybe that's part of the arena because I know very little about hockey because I'm an American, not a Canadian. Just kidding. And I know that they have rotating lights and stuff on when a goal scored. So I was like, maybe. And I saw that there were a whole bunch of rolled up screens, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what that's for. And I saw a whole bunch of projectors. I'm like, okay, maybe they use that in an arena. I don't know, but I started noticing things during the show that paid off. So then the intermission came. So I don't know if you can hear anything, but here's a little tour of the. I still don't know what that is, but I'm thinking that has something to do with the hockey team that comes here because of all the red lights. Don't know yet. There's video of this show online, but I didn't want to see it because I didn't want to spoil it. But see all those? Those are all screens. Those are all projectors. We'll find out. I have a feeling it has to do with hockey, not the concert, but the lighting in this show is pretty cool. Look at how much there is for the lighting and the audio and stuff. Pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy got up, and I was like, I'm good. I'm just gonna stay here.
It was my turn for the bathroom, and
that's why I was like, I'm just gonna do it first. That's like when I go see a movie, I do this last thing that I do before going in.
Yeah. I felt fine at that point. I was like, well, I could use a soda, so that's what I was trying to do, but didn't work out. Then I was like, all right. And so I got up because I knew it was going to take a minute. It didn't matter where I was going. There was going to be a line, and that's the case. So did that, went right back, and still had a good amount of time, so it was fine.
A little bit, but the thing is that about his show, I don't think it was like this in the wall. But when we went to see Dark Side of the Moon, there's something that happens in the intermission that I actually used the porta potty during the Dark Side of the Moon tour. I came back. You missed. They were like random. They had speakers all over the place. I guess I could call it quadraphonic. I can't say it. 4 channels. I thought it was more than that, but you hear sounds like radio conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very, very faint, which is one of the things I like about the show. Is like, is this like one of the people who work here? Am I hearing the radio? Because it was really quiet.
Yeah.
At first, and it was coming from different directions, and it sounded like it was somebody talking about like, oh, someone left their lights on outside, or something like that, like something that kind of would make sense, and then it got louder and louder and louder. And then at some point it's like, oh yeah, it's part of the show. But that's the cool thing is like even in the intermission, the show continues. Like you can get up and leave and do something, but if you stay in the seat, you get to see. I have a little clip of the very, very end of that. Here, when it got really loud, and then suddenly, your favorite kind of siren.
Oh, like a klaxon?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like the purge siren.
No, it's more like an old school. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here it is. suddenly all these red lights started flashing. I'm like, it is part of the show.
Yeah.
And then like the most amazing, so the problem with the iPhone is if you put it in video and then you lock the screen and you unlock the screen, it defaults back to photo.
Mm-hmm.
And then I try to record video of this happening and I got a photo.
Yeah.
But the whole truss moved down and I'm like, oh crap, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Like this, it is part of the show. And I saw that the projectors earlier, and I was thinking maybe it's part of the. But I'm like, but the projectors are on. And then at that point, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to think about it any further. I'm just going to let it happen, and then be surprised or not going to have it spoiled.
Yeah.
For me, which I hope I didn't spoil it for you. And then it just got more and more amazing.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing fell, and then rising up from it were the stacks, and they're like, holy crap! It's the power plant from the album Animals.
Yes.
I'm like, how did that collapse? And it just rose up and wasn't like folded or just. And then it rose back up, and then these screens rolled down from the side, and then I have a little bit of that, the end of that right now. And then the screen at the very end rolled back up, moved up, and then it was a monitor so people can see what's going on.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
Yeah.
Now,
for Pink Floyd fans who don't necessarily know their deeper cut albums, Animals is one of their more iconic ones that are it's underground in the sense that like most Pink Floyd fans know Dark Side of the Moon, they know The Wall, they know Comfortably Numb and Another Brick in the Wall, songs like that. But like if you really studied, there's actually a premise lyric. If you studied your Floyd properly, you know that pigs will fly. So it's got an iconic album cover of the power plant and the inflated pig flying around.
The cool thing is during the Wall tour, he played a lot of arenas, but he played a really huge venue near that power plant. And during during that concert, there was a long shot from the stage, and it zoomed in on that very power plant.
Mm-hmm.
That's how close they were playing from the power plant on the cover, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's impressive that it's still there.
Yeah, I'm not sure what. I mean, I don't know if it was like, oh, this will look cool on an album cover, or if there was like a deeper meaning. I don't know why they chose that location.
Yeah.
Or what the pig has to do with it. But you can see that there's a little pig that was flying up there, which is pretty cool. Because although the first song they played after the intermission was Dogs.
Which is a 17-minute and 8-second song. Yeah. And they played the whole thing.
Yeah,
which is fine.
One of the things that are great about his shows is they you think, oh crap, the show is just about to end, and then it doesn't. I forgot to put after clips that there's a break. So after Dogs, we have Pigs. It was a pig. 3 different ones.
Yeah.
And that was when the iconic balloon moves around. Now I say something in this clip right here. But you can't quite hear because it was so loud. Now, maybe it's because I'm a little bit of a lighting geek. The pig was being lit up, but it wasn't by spotlight. It was. Here's something else that I noticed when we were waiting for the concert. I saw that there was a big tech area with all the computers and people, and there were 2. Actually, I think there were 4. Movers, intelligent lights, that were right around the tech tables. And I'm thinking, oh, that's interesting. There's 4 of them. Somebody sat there with the lighting board and manually moved the intelligent lighting as a spotlight, not holding the thing. Actually, through a computer and a joystick, kept those lights on that pig while somebody else flew it with a remote control. That is amazing. I wanted to go up and talk to the guy. I'm like, tell him what an amazing job and I noticed it, but we weren't on the floor, and we couldn't get down to the floor.
Yeah.
And before the show even ended, they were already shutting down the computers, ready to pack up. So,
yeah.
I'm sure that they appreciate it, but they're probably like, okay, thanks. We're busy packing. So Please leave the arena.
Well, but it is, nice to hear. Hey. Thank you for what you do.
And most people probably didn't even notice that you were manually operating an intelligent light, which is incredibly hard to do.
Yeah.
So I'm just impressed.
I was actually going to ask you, how difficult is what he did?
I haven't really gotten a lot of hands-on experience with it, but pretty difficult. It's probably like a little trackball and moving a light that's not normally moved manually. It's usually programmed. So
yeah, that's it. Yeah, it sounds tricky.
It's like rocking around. Yes.
Yeah.
So after that is
ka-ching,
money. And this, my understanding is money is like this is like the dangers and the evils of money and like too much money and all that. And the ironic thing is that's when they started really showing off the screens.
Yeah.
Which you don't have unless you have a lot of.
But that's
money.
Yeah, but that's part of the price of admission is you do get this really awesome show.
And one of the things that I noticed that was just incredible. All of the screens were on probably not chain motors because I don't think chain motors would be fast enough, but they're on some sort of motorized system that would raise and lower them on the roll. And the roll where the screen was hanging from was lowering and raising while the screen was being lowered and lifted. I was watching the bottom of that screen while the top of it was going like this. It wasn't moving. It wasn't moving at all.
Yeah.
the top of it was being rolled and lifted and lowered at the same with such precision that the bottom of the thing didn't move. I've got a bunch of clips of it here.
Yeah.
But you can see that the screens were changing size, and these projectors on the side, they were when the screens were rolled out full length, they were very long, and these projectors covered the whole screen.
Yeah.
It's just, it was just as impressive as what they did with the World Tour. So that's why I mean, like, his lighting show was, but this with the projectors is fun, is amazing, and money might be the root of all evil today, but if you need a lot of money to work out something like that,
Yeah.
because that's just incredible. And we were just sitting there like,
Yeah.
We were going to do a review after the show, and it was kind of late, but at the same time, I'm like, I need a little time to like process what just happened in front of me, because
Yeah.
that was just too amazing.
Yeah.
And then the screens were used for the rest of the show. I almost wanted to go see the show again and sit on the side of the arena where it usually is a bad seat, because I think we had a pretty good compromise seat, because
Yeah.
we were back behind the floor, but not too far away, so we saw from the side all those screens and everything, and then saw the show directly. The funny thing about our Pink Floyd or Roger Waters or something like that is, normally with the show you want to get close to the band as you want, but if you get too close, you actually can't see the show.
Yeah.
Which is what Roger said in I think an interview, is that when he started playing arenas, the band was so far away, it was just this little dot on the stage, so they had the show for people who are further back.
Mm-hmm.
So getting back into it, After Money was Us and Them, which is the name of the tour, of course. So it would be really terrible if they didn't play Us and Them.
Yeah.
Then one more song of his, which is Smell the Roses.
Close your eyes and pray the wind don't change. There's not much screams in the field.
Smells like victory. And now, and then after that was back to Dark Side of the Moon with Brain Damage.
I see you on the dark side of the moon.
And the now it'd be really tough to time it, and it would have to be an outdoor show. But after that was Eclipse,
Yeah.
which very recently there of course was the eclipse over North America, and the most amazing thing possible would be to see Roger Waters' show outdoors playing Eclipse during the eclipse.
Yeah.
That could be a concert they could charge a stupid amount of money for.
Yeah.
So after Eclipse, did I jump ahead?
No.
Oh, so Brain Damage. Let's go back a little bit. So when I was sitting during the intermission, I noticed that there was something. We were too far away from. There was something sticking up in the audience, right around the seats near the stage. And I was kind of looking at it like, what is that? What is that? That's kind of, I don't know. It's too far away to see. And then during, I think it was either Smell the Roses or Brain Damage, I noticed that there was a huge amount of haze being blown into the arena. And that's something I just recently learned. There's a difference between fog and haze. Fog is thick, like we've done before, like when we've seen Holloman Hornites. But then haze is put into like an arena or a rock concert or something, and it it makes it so that you can see the light beams, but it's not as thick, so you can see through it easily.
Yeah.
So there was all this haze. I'm thinking, like, this is pretty much the end of the concert. This is probably the last song. Why are they blowing all this haze into the show? And then after Brain Damage, it comes Eclipse, and you see the pyramid.
What you see, oh, let you take,
Form with lasers,
Yeah.
which was amazing. Like,
Yeah.
because the thing is, like, something like that, the beams are so thin, they had to have as much haze in that place as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always a problem, because if you do an outdoor show, it just blows away.
Yeah.
If you do it indoors, a building that big has to have huge air conditioning systems, and it's always sucking air out of the arena to cool it off and blow it back in. So the air conditioning is always sucking on. So they either way they have to blow as much as they possibly can. But yeah, that looked amazing. And then I was like, okay, that's the end of the show. I mean, it's been Breathe, One of These Days, Time, Breathe, Reprise, Great Gig in the Sky, Welcome to the Machine, When We Were Young, Deja Vu, Last Refugee, Picture That, Wish You Were Here, Happiest Days of Our Lives, Another Brick of the Wall Part 2, Part 3, Dogs, Pigs, Money, Us and Them, Smell the Roses. And like, that's a really, really, really amazingly long show, which is great because it was very enjoyable. It seems like a reasonable time for him to be like, okay, that's the show. So Eclipse, and like, okay, that's cool. So after that, the show stopped. And he just stood up there. I have a little clip of that. Unfortunately, I didn't record long enough because he just stood up there and was like, he said, there's a lot of love in this room. I'm just going to stand up here and soak it up. And we thought, well, certainly that's the end of the show, because it looks like traditional end of a show.
Yeah.
Band comes up, they introduce everybody. And, okay, cool. Well, that was a great show.
Thank you so much.
Unfortunately, in a clip, there's some drunk lady saying, "Play Comfortably Numb! Play Comfortably Numb!" I'm like, okay, lady, he can't hear you. If he can hear you, he's not taking requests because the set list is already determined.
Yeah.
He's not going to just play a song randomly because he's going to be like, oh, wait, I think I hear something else for Comfortably Numb. Do we have that programmed in the show? No, we don't. Oh, well, we're just going to play it anyway. I don't know if she knew or if she was just being drunk and stupid.
Yeah.
The very next song was Comfortably Numb.
Come on now, I hear your feet, yeah. I can ease the pain and get you your feet again.
And the show kept going. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
With that iconic solo, of course. So that was one very, very long set list.
Yeah.
And and then what do you anything else to add?
I'm glad we went. I'm glad we kind of made it a point that every time Roger Waters is somewhere close by, we try our best to see him. We bought these tickets November 2016.
Yeah.
The show was July 2017.
And it was already like partly sold out if we were still in South Florida. The one in Miami was a lot of it was sold out. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Like, oh, geez. I don't really. I hated going to Miami when I lived in South Florida and from Orlando it's even farther.
Mm-hmm.
And like then I was looking like, oh, it's in Tampa.
Yeah.
Well, that's a lot closer than Miami.
Yeah.
It's not going to Miami, and we get in for free to Busch Gardens. So like, well, let's make a day out of it. And go to Busch Gardens. I put that video up a lot. I meant to record this video a long time ago. I just keep putting it off, and I was like, well, eventually. And I was like, well, maybe this guy should be here too because he was here as well.
This ends a very, very long and amazing concert. Keep watching for our reactions. Probably pumping on my P's. Close-up time. Close-up time. Right. Now to drive back to Orlando. And on to the next. And once again, which ones are the biggest buildings in the city? Bank, 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 bank. None of the buildings are tall.
Thanks for watching all the way through, and please exit that gift shop.
We are nice and close.
Wow, those images look amazing.